Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces have declared the establishment of a rival government. Tuesday marked 2 years since the conflict started. In a statement, the head of the RSF announced the government of peace and unity, saying it's a broad coalition that reflects the true face of Sudan. For more, let's cross to Mamoun Al-Maki, who joins us from Port Sudan. Hi, Mamoun. Sudan's paramilitary chief, Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, announced the alternative government on Tuesday, exactly 2 years into a war which has triggered the world's worst humanitarian crisis. What more can you tell us about this rival government?
Speaking about RSF government, yesterday Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, the commander of RSF, has announced the new government, the government of unity and peace. He said that the government will be formed out of 15 members in the presidential council, along with a non-political government which will govern the rest of the transitional period. He also spoke about a decentralized governance in Sudan, along with the guarantee of separation between religion and between the state in Sudan. Speaking about this announcement, this may be the first time for the commander of RSF to talk about the new government openly. We have witnessed his brother Abdulrahim Daglo in the signature and also in the workshops, but it's the first time for the commander to announce this government. I was talking with officials here in Port Sudan before this live, along with key politicians. They said that the Sudanese army government will be formed in the upcoming weeks. They said that they have submitted the names and the nominees for the nominees in the army government to General Burhan, and it's a matter of time until General Burhan announced this government too here in Port Sudan. They said that General Burhan has the right to decide the right time to announce this government. On the ground, of course, battles continue, especially in Darfur and in Khartoum, and we have witnessed the announcement of new curfew. The situation on the ground isn't that stable, unfortunately.
Okay, Mamoun Al-Maki, thanks so much for updating us there from Port Sudan. Meanwhile, ministers from 20 countries have met in London in an attempt to find a pathway to peace in Sudan. But the country's two warring groups were excluded from the talks. Among the attendees, though, was the United Arab Emirates, which has been accused of backing the Sudanese paramilitary. Shadia Edwards-Dashti reports.
It started with fire in the sky. On April the 15th, 2023, the streets of Khartoum shook under gunfire and shelling. Clashes between Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, plunged the country into a war for power. On the 2-year anniversary, the international community reacts.
I'm announcing a further £120 million worth of support. But the biggest obstacle is not a lack of funding or texts at the United Nations. It's a lack of political will.
1.5 million Sudanese people have taken refuge in Egypt, 1 million in South Sudan, and around 700,000 in Chad. To date, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, and a humanitarian crisis deepens.
Nearly 13 million people have fled their homes to date. New arrivals report witnessing mass killings, as well as experiencing systematic sexual violence and other human rights violations.
The civil war in Sudan has been dubbed the Forgotten War, whilst the international community here in London pledges more support and aid to the country. For these protesters, it's not nearly enough to stop the killing in the country. Neither of Sudan's main warring parties were invited to this international forum. But among the attendees was the United Arab Emirates, which is accused of arming the RSF, something it denies.
We're here to condemn the UAE's involvement in Sudan. They are supporting the genocide, killing our people in Darfur.
There's enough evidence, but the world is looking away from this because of the investment UAE is doing around the world. The situation in South Sudan is terrible. The militia is still committing genocide all around Sudan, particularly in Darfur. There's fighting going on.
Sudan has filed a case against the United Arab Emirates at the world's highest court, as the UN voices concerns that weapons and fighters keep flowing into the country. And while the international community comes together to, quote, put peace first for the people of Sudan, what that means in terms of ending the suffering is still unknown. Shati Edwards-Dashti, TRT World.
2 years of war have destabilised Sudan's political landscape as the army and paramilitary forces battle for control of key regions. Sudan's military says it's recaptured large areas of the country, including the capital Khartoum. The Rapid Support Forces, however, claims to maintain control of much of western Sudan, particularly the Darfur region. To Ukraine now, where NATO chief Mark Rutte has visited wounded Ukrainian soldiers in the port city of Odessa alongside President Volodymyr Zelensky. It comes days after a Russian strike on the city of Sumy killed